I'm ready whenever you are.
All right, I'm ready. Hello, hello. I am Bonnie Sunshine the Archer. I have a different set of cards today because I am at a friend's house and I'm loving this purple background. It's giving me like really silky and royal vibes today. So wanted to name that I'm in a different space and feeling so grateful, Io. So Io, Ash Misako, and I. We are in, we've been doing this for 2 months now. 2 months. Yeah. And I really want to give my appreciation for the architects, how you work with them, what you channel through, and how that is working with the magic of the two of us. The sun, the moon, the void, the play, there's two foxes jumping on the wall in here in art. And I looked at that and I was like, yes, thank you.
Foxes have been really prevalent. I we have a house that we're remodeling in Austin, and every night around like 3 or 4 a.m., I get a notification from my cameras, and they say there's been new movement detected, and I go and look, and guess who it is? It's my little foxes. So foxes have been really, really prevalent right now, which I love. Hi, everyone. I am Io Ash Misako. Thank you so much for joining us for Sume Society into a T. Gosh, that's a mouthful for me today. I am still recovering, not just from one uh, respiratory issue I had, but now from a second one. So I am feeling the wood snake shed like for real. Like, and it is all coming out through my throat and lungs. And I am sitting in a deep place of gratitude for my body for letting go of all the things that I do not need and do not want to carry forward
Mm.
into the new year. Which I didn't get to talk to you about this before we got on, Bonnie, but I have a little idea and I want to drop it to you. My thought
Yes.
is we celebrate because we are having Intuiti on the 17th, which is the Lunar New Year. And I thought it'd be super cool and super fun to do like a Lunar New Year celebration and a breakdown of what that
Mm,
year's going to look like.
that's super cool. I love
Yeah,
that. Yeah, let's talk about it. Everybody
cool.
take a breath. Take a breath. We gave you a lot of information already. And I'd love to have you connect with us and each other in the chat. What are you drinking?
Mm.
What energy are you bringing with you? Where are you in the world today? I'm in San Diego, California, where the sun is just coming out behind clouds finally. Letting everything drop away so that I can fully be here. I love this naming of all the things. You and I brought that in a couple weeks ago, and I can feel the difference in our calls because we're doing that.
You want to explain more on like what, when you say naming all of the things, what that means?
Yeah, for me, it is both identifying and putting up words to what I'm feeling in my body and in the field for the collective, for those of us who are here. And because my intuition shows me and gives me sensations in my body, it is identifying those. I find that when I do that, when I speak into that, it I'm going to bring in the phrase we talked about earlier, which is pop the bubble. It pops the
Mm.
bubble and it brings awareness and attunement to what's here so that we aren't wiggling or trying to get away from it or like, what is that? I don't really know. You put our finger on it, we name it, and then you can be with it.
I love
Is there
that.
anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, we were talking about popping the bubble earlier. You know, it's there's been a lot of bubble poppins happening. And it's like saying the hard thing, right? Like that's what's coming in for this is like say the fucking hard thing. If somebody's, if people can't read your minds. I don't know how many times I've said that this week to different friends and different people that have been around me. I'm like, they can't read your minds. I mean, some of us have telepathic, ability, and I'm going to own for that. And also, like, my choice as a channel is I used to read people's minds a lot without their consent. Not the smartest
Mm.
thing to do. Because just because you can read like their soul and themselves doesn't mean you should, still be assuming anything. So, like, do the fucking hard thing. Like, have the conversation, talk to somebody, open the door. You'll learn very quickly, and we're going to get into this in the space weather. You'll learn very quickly who's supposed to be in your community and who's not supposed to be in your community by how they respond, right? So if somebody comes to me and says something like, hey, Eo, I think you're a total fucking bitch, if I get defensive and angry about it, probably we're not supposed to be in the circle. But if they come and say that to me and I'm like, I get curious, I'm like, hey, interesting. Tell me more. Tell me why. Right? Like
Yeah.
these are the distinctions that I'm talking about. And so if you go up to somebody and be like, hey, your actions are really creating an impact on me, like can we talk about this and see what their reaction is and how they respond and how you feel in your body. That's all that matters. Now, I was telling Bonnie this earlier, like there's some people that you'll choose to deal with those ego things with, right? I just did it with my dad because I love my dad and I don't want to get rid of my dad. Like I want him in my life, so I'm going to take the time and energy to like be with him, right? So,
Mm.
welcome everybody. We've got so many people here on live. Oh my gosh, thank you for joining us live. If you are watching the replay, oh my gosh, thank you for joining us on the replay. My ask is if you enjoy this, share it with a friend. It's always better with a friend. Everything is always, I know the polyamory group really likes friends. So come in, bring your friends, bring whoever you want, bring your spirit guides. Everybody's welcome here in whatever state. And I would love, if you have questions or anything, if you're watching the replays, or even if you're joining live to go into Somei Society, make some comments, ask some questions if anything comes up over the week. So today I'm drinking, I think I've perfected my green tea. So I've got a green tea latte. And we have Ask for Guidance. Oh, that's a good one with some weird little bird guys. Some funky
Right.
little funky, really fun. Those are like some interdimensional nightmare shit to me. That's weird to me. I don't like those. We've got people in from Bend, Oregon, making some tea, also experience respiratory system. Let's talk about that for a moment because this is coming up. So when we're going through great times of shedding or purging, like we are with the wood snake, there are certain physical things that can show up in people, right? Somebody's also got a sinus bug happening. So when we're looking at these physical things that are happening, for me, it's a lot centered around my lungs, which are near my heart, and it's a lot in my throat as well. So I know that for me, there's a connection between heart and throat. And I've also been having headaches and sinus issues, which is going to be third eye area, right? So if we look at that bridge, and where those are each sitting. And somebody was also mentioning the chakra systems. What are each of those chakras? What are the difficulties that you may be having? Difficulties in physical stuff, right? That's happening. So sinuses and stuff can look at like third eye stuff. Throat stuff can look at like speaking out your truth, stuff along those lines. Heart stuff is very core to your center being, right? And is all about like love and creativity. So I've had some friends going through some reproductive issues as well. So just kind of pay attention to those. Yeah, we've got lots of people with sinus headaches and stuff. So when we see that happening in the physical, it's like, what can we do to open it more or close it? Ooh, interesting. Close it. Some people need to maybe close their third eyes. Some people may need to let their third eyes take a rest. Oh my gosh, this is coming through very loudly for one of you. And probably who you are. I hear you cursing me right now. Um, it's okay to let your third eye close and take a rest. I let it close and take a rest. It is absolutely okay. So if you're curious and you're cursing me right now and you know it's you, you know it's you. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, that person just, yeah, exactly. They know who they are. Like our resident numerologist is like, who is it? And I'm like, you know who you are when you know who you are. So I have literally in the past had to like say like third eye, like it's time to go to sleep, take a nap for a little while. Because it's keeping it open all the time, yeah, is fun. And also like that bitch gets tired. We get sleepy sometimes. Yeah. And Bonnie said, check in with the energy center above and below where the pain is and the yuck is located. Thank you for that.
Yeah, because often it's trying to communicate and that it can get stuck. So there can be a stagnation. Um, yeah, it's something to do with sickness. Whatever you associate with being sick, it's, I keep hearing clogged, like it's clogging that particular energy center and clearing or communicating with the one above and below will give you additional information about what you need. And I am also hearing rest.
Yeah. That's a big part that's coming in through this space weather this week as well is rest. Like, and I'm at the point where I'm like, I'm fucking tired of rest, man. I have been that's all I have been doing is resting and I'm exhausted from resting.
Mm. I love that you're getting that. And I've actually been getting bursts of energy as I start coming into my own fire and passion. So I I have had less rest, but different rest. That's
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah.
I've also been finding I'm like, oh, I have like I want to get stuff done and I have, but it's like it's very extremes. It's like get stuff done and then crash, get stuff done and then crash. And I'm like, I don't want to keep doing this. This is not a cycle that I want to keep doing. So I think it's just super intense in this final shedding. So awesome. Well, I'm glad that we did a check in. You know, if anything comes up as it comes up, please drop it in the chat. Let us know. And yeah, do you have anything else before we start getting into some of this spacey weather?
Yeah, we also love you using the chat, whether you're live or watching the replay or the podcast on YouTube. Connect with each other and use this to, um, yeah, this is all about community for us and bringing people together who have intuition, guides, aliens, and weirdness, things that they don't consider um, part of the traditional societal norms. You're in the right spot.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much for that, Bonnie. So we're going to drop into the first of the space weather, the first theme that we have that's rolling through. And this is going to be coming through in about 3 days. But we know that, like a lot of these transits, you can feel it 3 days before and 3 days after. So we do have that window. We are going to be going Saturn into Aries on February 13th. And this transit is going to be affecting us through April. So when we look at Saturn, that's like all about discipline and it's all about structure and it's all about like responsibility. And like there's also an edge of karma to this, which I find very interesting. So Saturn also brings up this like flavor, little zest of karma. And then we're moving into Aries, which is all like most people know about Aries. It's like this fire energy, right? And of course, perfect timing for Year of the Fire Horse, right? So that's all like very bold, very creative, almost like pioneering ideas. So when we're looking at Saturn going into Aries, it's going to be where structure actually meets action. So what was coming through was this was like building through boldness, not through surrender. I'm going to repeat that again. Building through boldness, not through surrender. Okay. what that can mean and what that can look like is, say you have a big decision. I'm going to just talk about myself here. I have a big decision to make right now. I am currently building a house with a friend of mine who has been working as the builder and general contractor. I love them very much. I have deep, deep, deep love for them. And I'm finding that the alignment is off. And we've talked multiple times on this. So the energy that I have been coming to it with is like, well, fuck, I have no other choice. Right. So that would be giving in through surrender versus coming from a place of being like, you know what? I love you. I appreciate you. And this really isn't working for me in the way that it has been. Are those two distinctions clear enough? Can you guys feel those distinctions, or do I need to go more hyperbolic with it? Let's see what y'all have to say. Does that
I
make
can
sense?
I can feel everyone like sitting with that and what that means for them.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And find a place in your life where you're maybe experiencing this, where instead you just are like, fuck it, I'm giving up. It's almost like this kind of like victimy, like brat quality, like meh, right? Which would be like the surrender versus the boldness is that you are choosing to make a choice from direct distinction.
And I'm hearing like that fight response of, well, this always happens to me, like like things coming to them versus feeling like we have choice.
Yeah.
Oh, honor your emotions.
Yeah, very much so. Honor your emotions, right? So if things come to you and you find yourself, it's interesting. The victim triangle dynamic is coming up. I would love if we could find a photo of that. I've got like a really rough shot photo we can share in Somei Society, but the one I'm talking about, the victim, the villain, the hero, that's
Yeah.
kind of coming in right now, and we'll share that on Somei Society so you guys can take a look at that. And there's the reverse triangle of it as well. Yeah. And then that's the thing. Somebody in the chat said, I don't want to be bold. I mean, that's a choice that you make, and that's okay as well. If you choose to not be bold, just also like, even in that statement, right? Feel that energy. Is that an energy of surrender, or is that an energy of boldness? And start to make those distinctions. Yeah. And bold can look and be soft, is what Bonnie said in the chat. So I think that's really important to have that distinction with. So we're also looking at like courage and initiative. Like this is all that Saturn into Aries, right? So what are you? They said that boldness feels brash. Mm. I mean, that's a story. If you want to keep that story, you're welcome to. To me, when I think of boldness, I think of somebody with authenticity, somebody with authority in themselves, right? That they are so clear. Like, say somebody comes up to you and they're like, "Hey, I'm gonna go. You know me. I love the hyperbole. Hey, do you want to eat this plate full of poop?" Right? You are so sure in your knowing that you're like, fuck no, I don't want to eat a plate full of poop, dude. I appreciate it, but no, thank you. Like it's a very clear, direct, like no in that, right? So if you know yourself at such a freaking level that you can step through, to me, that is boldness. That is what bold is to me. Yeah, yeah. Audacious is what's coming through. Oh, I want to hear more about that, Bonnie.
Yeah, I think for me it's sometimes I have words that are hot words where they cause constriction or ick in my system. And so I was tuning into what other words or frequency bold could be and audacious. That I do the thing I really want to do. And I do it in a way that feels exciting and most like me in the steps to get there. Not that it has to be 100, 1,000% a different way, but it's taking that that even first step, the audacious going through it.
I love that because it's now like creating this like weird little like linguistic tree that's happening in my head because I'm like, ooh, moxie. Like you like right? That's a really old timey word. I love old timey words, right? And that was used a lot in like the 50s and 60s. It's like that kid's got moxie, right? It's yeah, it's like that's what boldness feels like to me. So I love
Mm.
that rewrite. Um, do we feel complete on this?
I got cards for that if you
Yeah, I was
want
about to
to.
say I don't feel fully complete because there's
Yeah.
cards. Okay, thank you. Of course she's coming back up again. Of course you are. Hi again, fertility. Hi three, which we are actually in a 3 month this month. So
And you're going to laugh at this. Here's the second card, also a three.
interesting. Heartache and loss. It's that's we're gonna be talking about that. That's actually for that's actually gonna be coming up for the next two ones.
So
Yeah.
these are coming up as a pair, and that if we don't feel the emotions that are here, it can keep the fertility and birth of the newness at bay.
Mm,
And this card actually, it's so funny because before 2 weeks ago, I never read these cards reversed. And this one came up reversed. And so it is coming back through.
and
And it's showing me like um, someone on a cross upside down.
so I'm getting an hourglass and I'm also getting a chalice. She looks like a chalice, which I'm kind of laughing at because fertility, right, is also the chalice as well. So I find that very, 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 yeah, I'm feeling like in my womb, like an opening, just even thinking about this. And what's coming through now with that is to just kind of double down on what you said, Bonnie, which is like that grief and sadness. I'm especially feeling it around the womb area, is to release it, to let, like, but you, oh, and then we get into sticky situations when we're trying to release emotions. And you're actively trying to release them, you can kind of get into a little snafu there. And what it is not trying to release the emotion. It's just really fully feeling it, letting it feel completely seen, completely felt, completely heard. You can get just really quiet with yourself and go into whatever section of your body that's trying to speak to you and saying, hey, what do you need? What are you trying to say to me? And like, this is just good communication practices, right? And like, have a
Hmm.
conversation with your parts,
Hmm.
right?
So this part is lighting up when you talk about the womb.
Mm,
And when it's coming in this way, this is giving me like crown and third eye vibes. It's like sitting right in here.
yeah.
And when we allow the energy to go up versus down, it releases or it gives us more information in another way. So it's really important for some people if you're constantly or frequently releasing energy down, turn it the other way around because when we're only going one way, it can stuff or shove the energetics and then also create congestion.
Yeah, thank you for that. And then our resident numerologist came in with this week is six energy, which is for her is love, healing, devotion, and responsibility. For me, it's all about comfort, man. Six is so comfort. Like it's that's when I see a six, I feel like it's like a baby getting like when I was learning my numerology, like I had like I gave like symbols to each of the numbers. It's a whole thing. Maybe one of these days we'll go into it. But I want to keep on space weather because we do have time. And yeah, the number six is the number of the nurturing. So we are in. This is the final week of the wood snake, guys. Final week. So we're going to be like this is the last time that we're going to have this like fire horse year for 60 years and we're looking at final sheddings. One of the big things that came up with this was rest, like Bonnie was talking about earlier. I got like this kind of feeling of like the snake kind of going into the leaves and like cuddling into like its own little bed and like snuggling in because the shed has happened. right? The shed has now happened. And we're in a week of really appreciating your new skin. Like that's what came through very strongly when I was pulling up space weather is be like, ooh, I love like, when you like haven't showered for a while and like your bed sheets are dirty and then you like decide to wash your bed sheets and then take a shower and you like slide like you make your bed and then you slide into them and you're like, oh my god, this is the best thing in the fucking world. That is what I'm feeling for this final week of Wood Snake is really just be in such gratitude if you can, if you're able to be in such gratitude for that shedding that you have gone through and feel the new skin. Really feel the new skin before we put the wood snake to sleep and to bed, right? It's going to go into hibernation for a while. So for 60 years.
Mm. And I want to share that phrase again, put it to bed. This doesn't necessarily mean lock it away, we never look at it again. That that we can set it down. It's okay to
Yeah.
set things down.
Yeah.
And if you need to pick them up again, it's okay. Putting it to bed does not mean locking it and never touching it again.
Putting it to bed does not mean it's dead.
Yes, thank you. I was like,
Can we
why?
put that on a bumper sticker? Oh,
You
we got a
snorted.
snort out of
Yes,
me on
that
that.
was so good.
Damn, I'm good.
We've
Wordsmith over
won
here.
we've won the lottery today.
Yeah, the end of the shed is the most painful for the snake. And then the exhaustion that hits when they're done demands breath and rest. That's from our resident numerologist, Lindsay Dewing. Um, and that's exactly where we're at is that rest and also like really bringing in that gratitude, like that feeling of that new skin. I really want to nail that point home. That new skin, those clean sheets, that clean shower that you're just like, ooh, this feels real nice. Look at my new skin. New skin is fantastic. And you can be exhausted and still be in that point, right? And that's totally welcome and totally okay. Yeah. As we've got people popping up, facts, I'm in that exhausted place. I am too. Welcome to the crowd. I am fucking so fucking exhausted. And it's okay. It's absolutely okay to be exhausted. And also, it's okay to really appreciate how much you've gone through this year and how beautiful and incredible your transformation has been and how pretty your new nice little snake skin looks like. Yeah, exactly. Another fun nuance in the chat coming in is when snakes shed, they are super soft after. Yeah, they're like super soft, super slick, right? Oh, yeah. Okay. I could live in that feeling. I'm just like, I literally just want to go dive into bed and live in that feeling for the next like hours. And we have more space weather. So we have got this is a big one, you guys. And I know that I'm bringing in some aspects of next week into this week, but I'm also giving room for that 3 days before. So, what's fun is we've got our new moon, right? We've got the lunar new year, which happens on the new moon as well. We've also got a solar eclipse coming in, guys, and this is also happening on the 17th. So we have got some really major like convergence happening. And that solar eclipse is happening in Aquarius. And when we look at Aquarius again, it's all about like this collective, like innovative, very intellectual, very like humanity as a whole, consciousness driven ideas. And when we're looking at a solar eclipse, specifically in that, whenever we've got this kind of solar eclipse energy, it just amplifies things like massively, like super massive amplification. What's interesting about this solar eclipse, the energy is supposed to be hanging out for almost 6 months, which is wild. Like eclipse energy can last for a very long time. 6 months is a particularly long amount of time for this. And this really means that like communities and alliances are going to be tested, right? So you'll start noticing like what relationships are dropping away and what communities are holding you up. Body's going through some of this right now, right? I started to air your
No,
laundry
it's okay.
and also, right, this is what happens. I'm seeing it as well too. It's like, what communities do I actually want to fucking hang out in, and what communities do I want to find something new in? You know, do you want to share a little bit about how your community showed up for you so they can get an example?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
also have a couple other things. So with this Lunar New Year, Ramadan, Lent is also happening with this same time frame. So this, and I'm getting a hit on the back of my belly button, so the backside, tuning into like what frequencies are coming in through and here for us as a planet. Yeah, letting that land. Everybody take a breath. So I live in a high rise, and my condo, sometimes we have to do things for the whole building. So we're doing fire alarm testing, and the water shut off to replace pipes. And there was no way I was going to do this in my building today. So I put out a message to a couple different groups, and I can already feel like tears coming up. I had so many offers of people saying, come to my space. I have space for you. I felt so held, and the welcoming, um, just the welcoming messages alone. It was like making me cry with how much that meant to me. And I'm feeling, um, it almost feels like the fruition of where I've put my energy and how I've cultivated family through these groups is showing up for me in ways that I didn't have in my past awareness.
I love that so, so much. And yeah, hearing your story earlier today, I was just like, yeah, Bonnie's gotta share that. Also, reminder, water, hydration time. All right, so we're looking at that solar eclipse in Aquarius. So just like Bonnie said, she put the call out there. Her community showed up for her and like fucking showed up for her. So this is what we're asking you to kind of look into and play with this solar eclipse in Aquarius. And this is over the next 6 months, right? So this moves from wood snake into fire horse. So we're still looking at very action and it's like does my community live up and are they supporting me and are they showing up, or do I need to go maybe release and look for a new community? And this is also collective vision versus individual needs. It's also not only what can my community do for me, what am I doing for my community? Right? Like, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. It's kind of like that jam is coming up with this. What do I need to do for my community? And then when we look at this as like a bigger picture, and this is going to be coming in with some of the later space weather as well, is when we look at this is like, what is your immediate community with yourself? What is your community with your next closest ties, like the next two or three people that are closest to you? What is your community with like some of your spiritual groups or your group of friends, right? What is your community as a city? What is your community as a state? What is your community as a country? What is your community as a world, right? Community spans this incredible spectrum. It really, really does. And it goes all from individual community within yourself all the way up to like a global consciousness level, right? And we're not just talking the planet Earth, we're talking like all space time dimension. And wherever, it might be good, a little practice. This is getting downloaded right now, to look at each of those communities, list each ones that feel important to you and see, like, just do a like vibe check. Like, do I feel cool in each and all of these communities? Right? Like right now, I can be really honest. Like, I am not feeling really good in like the community of the United States. Like I'm feeling really like not cool with it. And also, that's only one part of the group. When I look into the other part of the group, I'm feeling great in that community, right? So I'm going to then focus on the community I feel great in and the community that makes me feel loved and makes me excited and makes me hopeful, right? So
Mm.
I'm going to keep focusing on that community. And what do I need to pour into my time, my energy into that community to make that voice louder, so to speak, right? Breath on that one. That was a timestamp one, and that was a big one. They're pointing all the fingers, and we've got some big, big cards with this. Okay, let's pull these up. We are looking at disruption. Oh, yeah, we're going to be talking about that in a moment too. Severe
Okay.
disruption. And then
Yeah.
it's interesting. It's like compartmentalization and emotional loss. These are some
So,
depressing ass cards, Bonnie.
well, I thought so too when I first started working with this deck. And what I had to re-examine for myself is how do I look at them from it giving me awarenesses and allowing um, the newness of it to come in. So I would actually look at it. Why am I thinking negative and what is the positive aspect in that? And once I started doing that, I got a lot more out of this deck in general. Together, this is a three pull. So again, we're coming in with the threes. So it for this one, it's that our heart can feel really tender, and it goes back to the wood snake, how our skin can feel really tender, um, and feeling the emotions all the way because there is that disruption in our communities and the way we are connecting with things outside of ourselves because it's also affecting things inside.
Okay. Yeah, again, I sit in the pessimist view, so like most of the time. So one of these times I'll be a little more optimistic, maybe. We'll see. I don't know. It doesn't come naturally to me.
It's this is great because we're all in different places. And I look at when I think when we first had this card pull a couple weeks ago, I was like, oh, I don't like this card. I've never seen this card. What is happening? Well, these boxes look really terrible. Um, so I had that. And this goes to what you were saying earlier that our responses to things is so telling. It may be showing you that this card pull is not for you, and that is also okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, Bonnie. Thank you for re-outlining that for myself and anybody else that may be having those same thoughts or feelings. And like that's the thing. It's okay. Like it's okay to have those thoughts and feelings. It's okay to be disgusted. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to be in fear. It's okay for all of these things. It's okay to be in joy and love and light. Like it's I see too many times that somebody's feeling really happy and joyous and they're like I shouldn't be able to feel happy or joyous with what's going on right now. I've heard people say that and I was like that's not fucking true. You can feel happy and joyous. You can be in a deep state of grief and also be really happy and joyful. Yeah. Yeah, Bonnie, it's funny. As I'm saying it, Bonnie's typing the exact same thing in the chat, which is I am okay. I'm safe in this body. I am okay to feel, and it is okay to feel joy. Right. Um, yeah. Okay. So we're going to go in because we are getting short on time. This is a very long one today. So I'm going to try to wrap this up very quickly. And if we need to go into anything deeper, we can. We've got Venus and Mercury, which is going from Aquarius into Pisces. So this is going to help break up some of that stellium that we've been feeling. So that also means, though, we're going from Aquarius, which is like collective humanity, into Pisces, which is like a little bit more like confusion, dreams, and vision, says to pay attention. boundaries are dissolving, logic is moving into feeling. And then one of the main things I had here is how to do dream work. So, what I'm going to do is in Somei Society, I am going to give probably like a little quick lesson on how to do some like dream recall techniques so you can start working on your lucid dreaming. Because if you can work in the dream realm, I can't even tell you how incredible that really helps your world, spiritually and otherwise. So I'm going to try to go into Somei Society at some point this week and post up just a little like mini course on how to go into potentially like dream recall, because it is so important. So I'm making a mark on that. Um, one of the things that I've really been working on bringing in is, my friend introduced me to this book. It is incredible. It was with Dr. Karen Parker. She's a human design specialist. And what she's done is she's actually gone through and she has done a quantum design for like the entire year of 2026. So I have been looking at the gates associated. She gives a gate for each week and each like big lunar thing that's happening. This week, we're in gate 30, which is all about passion and desire. And this is happening from the 13th to the 18th. And so we're talking about like intense emotional fire, also emotional waves that can be coming in, these really high highs and these really low lows. And the reminder is to kind of surf the waves, to try to go with the flow on those things. um there is, what is out of alignment. It is also like ambitions and deep connection, and this is a huge one that I really really like wanted to bring in. When gate 30 is aligned, we are looking at like really great strong, you can use that fuel for ambition and deep connection. And if it's completely out of alignment, it can really look like destructive chasing or frustration. The energy that I got from this is almost addict energy. So if you know you're like, notice yourself being in this almost addict energy, just be aware of it. You don't need to shame it. You don't need to be shitty about it or to it. Just be in a realization and an awareness space that, oh my goodness, like I'm feeling like an addict right now. All right. Is there something coming up for you, Bonnie, in that? Thanks. I do think I'm inspiring. I'm such a fucking dork. Your mic's off, baby.
That's so funny. I was saying this is the deck it's from.
Awesome. I love that. Oh, that's beautiful. I'm feeling very womb-like in that too. And like the roses and the thorns and the like something about Aphrodite's coming in right now with the shell work and with love. So kind of bring that in, right? Yeah, like I'm feeling, whoa, that's like activating my yoni like nobody's business. So be really really like aware of that, as and especially in gate 30 when we're talking about passion and desire. That's a very sacral gate, right? That feels very like what's driving you, and that is for humanity. So that is the 2 and the 7, the balance and the dichotomy. And then I equal those into the 9, which is all about collective consciousness. Thank you for that card, Bonnie.
Everyone
um
take a breath with that.
and look at me trying to rush through and get all the things in that I want to. This has been a big lesson for me in this wood snake period, is trying to fit a whole bunch of stuff in a little bit of space. And just to realize also, like, I'm going to breathe into that. We're not in a rush. We can go longer than 45 minutes. Bonnie, are you okay going a little bit longer than 45 minutes? People in the chat, you're welcome to stay. You're welcome to leave. Anybody that's joining us live, ooh, they are here for it. So here for it. So I'm not going to fucking rush anymore. We're just going to give you the information the way it needs to come through cleanly, clearly, and without any kind of fucking rush because it's not necessary. I don't need to put stupid fucking timelines on things that I don't need them on.
And breathe
Definitely
into it.
confident with your ability to do something in a short amount of, yeah, I that's Oh, yeah, yeah. The guide may be taking a little longer to come out, you guys. I don't think it's coming out on the New Year. It might, but I think it needs a little bit more cooking time, right? So, okay, amazing. So with that said, I want to get into our sun is actually, this was really interesting because I started doing a little bit of a deeper dive and I was like, intuitively something came in. It was like, look at what gate the sun is in right now. And so I went and looked through, I've got a Neutrino app and I've got the Human Design app, and I looked to see what gate the sun is in for today. And I think it's actually rolling through this entire week. But the sun is in gate 49, which I found really fucking interesting. Do you guys want to know what the gate 49 is? It's all about principles and fucking revolution. Yeah, principles and revolution. So we are looking what specifically it was talking about with this gate and with gate 49 is like community rules and community principles, like the agreements that we as a society have created, right? And what's really interesting, it specifically is talking about rejection from community. When people do not live up to the standards that we as a community have made, how they get pushed the fuck out. I'm going to say that again. When you do not live up to the standards that this community has made, you get pushed the fuck out. And I'm going to get real fucking sharp on this. This goes for you, pedophiles. You are not fucking welcome in this fucking society. If you harm children, if you harm animals, if you harm anybody that cannot consent to what you are fucking doing, you are not welcome here. You are not welcome. You are not welcome in this society. It is time for you to be gone. It is time for your names to come out. We are not playing this game anymore. There is nowhere else to run. There is nowhere else to hide, and your lies will not protect you anymore. Okay? So get the fuck out. You're not welcome. And breathe into it. And we are abandoning those motherfuckers. Abandon the abandon the fucking pedophiles.
And it may also feel like your community is abandoning you, or
Yeah.
that you're abandoning your community because of this time of disruption.
Yeah.
So, this is the time to be generous with your time. Where are you putting it? Where are you out of alignment? Where are you following your joy, your passions, your love, your life in community and for yourself?
Yeah, which is very, very, very huge. And when you say generosity, and I'm gonna tie that into the thing that just very loudly came through, also take some breaths because that was very sharp and very loud. Where does that generosity come in for people that have been victimized, right? Or people that have been, I don't even want to use the word victim, people that have been harmed, that the impact has been so harsh on them. Where can you bring in generosity, right? And then also, at the, micro level is like, where can you bring that generosity to yourself as well? Where have you felt the impact of this? Right? And what do you need to do for yourself? Obviously, me, I needed to yell on this podcast and actually speak out loud what was happening and to not shove it under a fucking rug, because this is part of the difficulty. It has been shoved under a rug for way too long. So look into you and what's happening in your world, in your life, things, things that are important to you, and speak out. Yeah. And then we have somebody in chat coming in that said, when you don't fit in because you're just different. Yeah, that's the thing, babe. We're all fucking different. We're all fucking different. All of us have our own weird quirks and abilities and funkiness, and that's fucking okay. The thing is you find community. You find community when you start showing those weird, quirky things, right? That's how you find your community, you know? Like if you're wearing a shirt that says freaking Lego Iron Man, you're going to have other peoples that are into Lego Iron Man that want to come hang out with you. If I wear a metal shirt, other people are going to be like, yo, what up, metalhead? You know, like we know these, right? Yeah. Yeah, bullying is a thing. So we have somebody in chat talking about when they've been bullied and realize that it's followed them all their life. And they're really grateful to find Soulmate Society because you feel accepted here. I am so glad you're here. You have no idea how fucking glad I am that you're here, that you are here, that each and everybody in here is joining us, and everybody watching on the replays. That was the main part, for Bonnie and his eye is we wanted to build community where fucking everything is welcome. Everything and all levels. And everybody is welcome here. Um, yeah. So I'm gonna breathe, drink some water, and then we're gonna go into the last little portion of space weather, and then we'll be closing it out. This last one's going to be pretty quick and easy. We're going to go into the numerology of this week, which we are in a 1 year. We are in a 3 universal month. And 1 year's number ones are all about self, a creation, leadership. Threes is social, very communication driven. It's like the talking one. And I want to bring in three as well, which is optimism. Optimism is a huge part of three. I know I joke and say that I'm a pessimist, but I'm actually more balanced than that. And there's a lot of optimism within a 3 month. And we have that opportunity right now is to look on, yeah, blessings and like how this is handling. And then the other thing is we're going into, with both those together is a four, right? And which is all about very foundational, very like building grounded like portions. And I can hear my resident numerologist Lindsay doing sitting here being like it's stagnation as well, and it's also this building foundations, right? We're going to bring that optimism in. We're going to bring that optimism in, and it's all about building our foundations. What do we want to see? She said it's the balls. It's the fucking balls. Force are the balls. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this wrapped up unless Bonnie, you have anything else to share.
Just
And we're
loving
gonna
this,
thank you for
loving
joining
this
some
like space.
yeah, thank you for joining Some Society, and we're gonna end on it's the balls.
Ding. Pop those bubbles. Pop those balls.
Oh my God, pop those bubbles. Thank you all so much for you joining us in this slightly longer edition of Soulmate Society. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below, whether that be on YouTube or if you please come join us in this May Society school, which there will be a link somewhere. I think maybe in the description. I think Bonnie you put it in the description, so there'll be a link for the school. You can go join us there. And yeah, just thank you for joining us. Thank you for being here. And thank you for riding the waves and showing the fuck up. I appreciate you so fucking much.
And being an
And
inspiration.
inspiration. Where are you finding inspiration in this world right now? Yeah. Oh, and yeah, if you guys want to hang out for after hours, if you join us live, you hang out with after hours. We go off camera, off recording, totally off the record, and just talk a whole bunch of shit, and it's really fun.
Thanks, everyone.